Hello and good morning, good afternoon and a very good evening to you. The good hope of a chew. Purple today, hope you're feeling grand and all is well in your world. Hello there everybody, welcome to another Q&A Wednesday. Let's dive into question one. By the way, I'm very, very distracted today in this stupid thing, so bear with me. I'm going to try and bury myself in the questions and then hopefully I won't have to think what I'm thinking, which I don't enjoy. Okay, anyway, enough on that. Let's dive into question one. So question one today is, it's kind of a bit of a different question actually. What would your dream YouTube setup be? What would the venue be or the set be like? And if you had unlimited money, would you travel and do more tour like Guitar Factories? Would you review more expensive stuff or stick to affordable stuff? And would you stick with minimal edits? Okay, so this is quite a cool question actually. It's like, if you had unlimited money, what would you do to your YouTube channel? My ultimate kind of goal for a YouTube channel would be if anybody follows Rick Beato, if anybody's seen his studio, that would be like that's yeah, please, thank you. I have always wanted my own studio. I've always wanted that kind of place you can go and you can just like shut the world away, world out, should I say, and it's your space to create music in. I've always wanted that. I always will want that. It's one of those things where, this is my recording studio. You know what I mean? At this point in time, it's like Prince's recording studio, and in fact, it has a bed in it. But which is quite cool actually, to be honest with you, because it's actually quite nice sometimes to when you've mixed something, just lay down and listen to it, and just kind of like have it on repeat. And you can, if you lay down and relax, you can really kind of like get absorbed in it, and you can hear what you want to tweak and whatnot. So that is quite cool. But having a proper studio with all the right kind of recording gear and software is a dream. And I think it's a dream that a lot of guitarists, bassists, musicians in general have, is to have their own studio. And Rick Beato's studio, to me, just looks like my idea of heaven. You know what I mean? Especially the room where he does all the what makes this song great, and then the new one he's just built with all his amps in. It's just like, just to have that would make me really happy. And so if I had unlimited money, that's what I would have. I would have that kind of built. I would have a actual recording studio that I would use for YouTube videos and also to record my music and also to kind of like get other people in to record as well. You know what I mean? And it'd also be really cool to like, if I had a studio like that, I'd be able to do kind of like live sessions, if you know what I mean, like film like live sessions where you get like bands in and stuff like that. It'd be absolutely awesome, and you can get people in you can play with, and you can do it with like full band and stuff. So that would be kind of like that would be the dream kind of venue slash set for me. It would be like a recording studio thing. And again, like I said, because it'd be multi-purpose. Not only would I be able to do YouTube videos in there, I'd be able to do YouTube videos about recording a lot easier, about all sorts of different things, and also be able to kind of like do live performances in there and stuff like that. So that would be basically I just want Rick Beato's studio. Basically, that's basically it. I would love that. That would make me very, very happy. That would be the venue in the set. As for minimal edits, I don't like loads of edits. I just don't like them. I just like the idea of a video flowing. And that comes back down to kind of my philosophy on guitar as well and stuff like that. I like it when things flow. I don't like it when there's a jump cut every 5 seconds to something else or a different angle or whatever. I don't really like that. I like it when it's just kind of like continuous and it's got this flow to it, and it just, there's nothing interrupting that. It just goes, and it goes where it wants to go. So minimal edits would definitely be. I don't like to edit anything because, again, this isn't true, but it always feels kind of like, if you have to edit things, if there's loads of edits in the video, it's like, did you stop the video to research something? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, if you know what you're doing, you should be able to just speak about it You know what I mean? Clearly, concisely, and just kind of like without any edits. But again, that's just my philosophy on it. It doesn't mean anything. That's just kind of the way I see it. It's like, I'm just kind of like, to myself, it's like, well, you know what you want to say, Dave, so say it. Don't go away and think about it. Just say it. Anyway. But yeah, minimal edits. I like minimal edits. I like the minimal edit kind of thing. I watch quite a lot of non-guitar related YouTube channels that are not edited. You know what I mean? There's a lot of continuous shots that just kind of keep going. And I like that. And that was always one of those things that kind of like made me go, I really want that kind of thing. And also the early Fretted Americana videos with Phil X. I mean, there was very few edits in them. I loved that. I mean, that was the reason I wanted to start doing this was Phil X. Well, Phil X and Rob Chapman were the two guys who I wanted to why I wanted to start doing this. Because I saw Phil demoing all those guitars, and I saw Rob in his house, his old house, years and years ago. The first video I saw of Rob Chapman was the how to block a tremolo off, and he cuts this block of wood and puts it in this Strat. And the first video I saw of Phil X was I can't remember the year, but it was a Sunburst. No, it wasn't. No, I'll tell a lie. It was the first video I saw of him was. It was a Les Paul, actually. I tell a lie. It was a 59. It was the very short videos they did at the beginning. They were like 5 minutes. Yeah, it was like a Sunburst Les Paul. It wasn't a long video about it. I remember it was like 5 minutes, something like that. But those were the videos that I was kind of like, oh, this is cool. And I started watching it, and I was like, I want to do this. And it took me a long time to kind of get to do it, but I eventually did. And I'm so happy I did. So, because I've met all of you awesome people, which is just the best thing in the world. Okay, so anyway, back to the question before I digress even more. Tangent boy. Anyway, that would be my ideal set. Would just be like a studio kind of thing. I love the idea of having my own recording studio. I just love it. That would make me so happy to have everything kind of that I want. Because I love recording music, I love creating music, but sometimes the surrounding I'm in isn't conducive to that working relationship, if I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, there's too much going on, and I can't shut anything out, if that makes any sense. So to have your own kind of like soundproof studio where you can, again, just lock yourself away and just kind of forget the world and just focus on either the video you're doing or the music you're doing or the live performance you're doing or rehearsal you're doing would just be like is a dream to me. That is a dream, and it's just one of those things of like, it's like one day maybe. It's like, highly doubt it, but you know what I mean. But yeah, you also said like, would you demo more expensive stuff or stick to more affordable stuff? If I had unlimited money, I would demo everything from the cheapest to the most expensive. If I had unlimited money, I would demo everything because, at the end of the day, I love guitars, I love amps, I love, I have what I have, and that makes me happy. But the opportunity to try other things is always exciting, as we all know. You know what I mean? It's like, how often do you turn down? If somebody says, oh, do you want to try this guitar? How often do you say no? It's like, yes, I want to play that. It's got 6 strings on it. Of course I want to play it. So yeah, I mean, I would demo everything. I would get all sorts of stuff. If you had limited funds, you would demo everything you could, just because it'd be awesome to do it, and because if you were kind of like self-funded, you could be totally unbiased by it. You could be totally brutal about stuff. If you think it was rubbish, you could say it was rubbish, and no one could do anything about it because you bought it. You know what I mean? Because I don't like the idea of being in like particularly the pocket of a company. You know what I mean? I don't like the idea of kind of like saying something's good just because they've paid you a lot of money. You know what I mean? Everything that I've said that's good in my videos, I love. You know what I mean? The only time I did a negative review was the Marshall Code. I didn't want to do that review, but there was a lot of requests for it, and I kind of wish I hadn't done it, if I'm being perfectly honest, because I didn't like the amp one bit. I actually sent it back the day after the review, and it just went back. I mean, in all fairness, to the Code, I do believe now, thinking about it, I didn't really spend enough time with it. But the thing was, I couldn't get my head around it. It wasn't a ridiculously complex amp to figure out, but it just wasn't for me, if that makes any sense. It wasn't user-friendly for me. And I've had a few people message me saying it wasn't user-friendly for them, and I've spoke to a few people about, same people like, it just didn't, I couldn't get my head around it. It's very simple, but it's not simple. There's all these other bits and pieces. But, maybe one day I'll play a code again, but I highly doubt it. I would like to give it another go, but I'm not going to rush out. I'm not buying one. You know what I mean? I don't want to buy it. Well, I can't afford to buy it. It's Christmas time. I ain't got any money. I don't know. I don't like doing negative reviews. If something comes along that I don't like, I just won't demo it. I don't really like the idea of putting a video up of a product and just bad-mouthing it because I don't like it. Because the fact of the matter is, just because I don't like it doesn't mean other people won't. And the code is a great example of that, because there is a lot of people out there who swear by the code and love it for what it is. Whereas I don't, but again, it's all personal opinion at the end of the day. You've got to go by what you feel and what you like. It's not about what somebody says you should get. It's about what you want. You know what I mean? If like I always say, like, if you go into a shop wanting to buy a Les Paul and somebody says, no, you need to buy this Telecaster, and you're like, well, what a Les Paul? And like, no. You go, no, I want a Les Paul, or I'll go somewhere else. Where's your Les Paul section? You need to stick to your guns. You need to be kind of like you want it. Don't fold under pressure of what people recommend you should have or recommend you should be playing or this, that, and the other. You got to be true to yourself. You got to keep that kind of like that integrity inside of you to kind of just do what you want. If you want to play Green Day songs for the rest of your life, do that. You know what I mean? Just because somebody says, oh, well, you've got to branch out and you've got to learn different techniques and you've got to learn this and that. If you don't want to, don't. It's not, it's not important to do it. If what you're doing makes you happy and that's what you want to do, then do it. That's all that matters. That is all that matters. But yeah, sorry, back to the question, because I digress again, don't I? I tangent again. So yeah, more expensive stuff or stick to more affordable stuff. I'll just do everything. I would have a ridiculous stack of Marshall MGs and CR120s and Boss Katanas though. Like, I would literally hoard them. Especially the MG and the MG, CR120 and the Katana. Definitely, I'd go a bit silly, I think, with them. That could be a problem. I don't know. I have to go to some kind of like rehab for my MG's Anonymous or something like that. Anyway, not to be funny. That's hysterical. What the hell? MG's Anonymous. Anyway. Yeah, so again, ideal venue set for YouTube would be like a studio. I just love the idea of it, and the ability to kind of like do like not only YouTube videos that I do, but teaching videos in an environment that's kind of like more kind of like functional for that environment where you're not going to get interrupted. There's not people walking around. There's not banging going on. There's not kind of like the noise from the outside world coming through when somebody has a drill or someone's doing something outside or police sirens going past. That kind of thing is just something I would love. It really is something I would love to do. I would love to have my own kind of like studio thing where I can just like shut yourself away and just focus 100% on what you're doing. Because like I say, sometimes certain things can just like distract you. Like, what was that noise? Or what's that person doing outside with the drill or the lawnmower? Or like, there's people talking or that siren going past or whatever, you know what I mean? They can kind of distract you, and they can kind of take out kind of concentration, that kind of focus away from you. And to have a environment that's fully functional for that whole thing of like creating and stuff like that, it's a creative environment. That would just be like a dream. That'd be an absolute dream. Like I say, if money was no object, that's what I would have. But sadly, money is an object, as we all know. So yeah, but yeah. So that's the dream kind of idea would be to kind of like like I say, and I would travel. I would go all over the place just kind of like looking at guitar related stuff. I would love to travel doing music. I really would. I would love to travel the world playing music, but that isn't going to happen in this day and age, especially not the music I make the way the industry is right now. The ability to actually tour my kind of music, I think, would be slim to none, which is very upsetting because that's apart from having my own like recording studio, as I say, the other thing I've always ever wanted is my own kind of ability to tour. I'd love to do that. So if I had unlimited money, I would travel. I wouldn't tour, sadly, but I would definitely travel. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to move on from your question because I could talk about it all day. So I'm going to move on to question 2 now. Question 2 is: do you listen to music that's not particularly guitar heavy? And do you find yourself inspired by other instruments? Yeah, I do. I listen to a lot of... I like classical music. Some classical music, not all of it, but I do like classical music. And I like the layers that build. And I like counter melodies and all sorts of stuff where there's multiple things going on. I also like film scores as well. I like listening to kind of film scores. Again, I like the way they build. A good example for me, one of my favourite film scores. Well, I've got loads. I've got so many from from John Carpenter's music for like Assault on Precinct 13 and The Fog, to the music in like Aliens, to the music in stuff like Last Samurai and stuff like that. And also really kind of like sad films and stuff like that. There's so much you can learn from film scores of like emotionally touching music, of how it really gets to you. Another good example is Last of the Mohicans film, which was a 90s film, which has got absolutely one of the most gorgeous theme songs ever. It's got so much going on as well. And it's only over 3 chords. It's E minor, D major, and G major, and that's the whole thing. That's all the chords are. But there are so many things interweaving into this. You've got the main kind of theme, and then you've also got another theme that runs underneath that's actually double time of the main theme and double time of everything. It actually sits really strangely in the kind of in the actual flow of the piece, and it really makes you go and go, how in the name of monkeys did they get that to work? But it's really, really cool. So yeah, I mean, I do listen to like classical music. I like violin music. I like Irish airs. Like it's just violin pieces that have these flow, and they're just absolutely gorgeous, and they're just extremely sad, and they just absolutely pull on you in every way, and it's just gorgeous. I love the melodies and stuff like that. So do listen to that. I like soundscape kind of music as well. But not necessarily kind of like with a guitar in it, like pad kind of like keyboardy stuff. I listen to quite a bit of that. I've always enjoyed that kind of sound. The thing is, as long as there's a melody to it that I can click with, I'm happy. As long as it actually kind of like as long as it kind of goes inside and actually kind of like affects me, then I'm happy. I love to listen to it. Gladiator is another film with stunning soundtrack. Absolutely. And all the kind of musical flourishes and all kind of like kind of emotional pieces where it kind of really reaches out and kind of grabs you. They're the kind of like that's at the right times. It's just amazing. It's like hitting the right note at the right time in a solo. It can say 1,000 things, and it's one of those things. But yeah, I mean that's one of the things I would always recommend. Like I've never actually recommended it but I should. Is learning film scores on guitar. Because invariably the melodies are just pentatonics, but it's how they fit over the chord progression that kind of makes it beautiful or stunning or gorgeous or whatever you want to call it. It's just incredible. It really is incredible. The way these guys come up with music for films is just like sorcery. It's magic, absolute magic. Such in the same way as kind of like I see Jimi Hendrix's music as magic and John Frusciante's music as magic. How they came up with that, I'll never know. But it's the same kind of thing. So yeah, I do like to listen to it. And again, I do get inspired by other instruments. And I always, I don't always say, but I do. I always want my guitar, especially on the neck pickup, to sound that kind of like violin-y. That flow that you hear from it when somebody plays a violin and they play it really emotionally, and it's just got this gorgeous flow to it. That has always been my goal with the guitar, and I don't feel like I've achieved it yet. It's not quite there, but that's why I'll lay loads of gain on it, because it creates a sustain and a flow. And I like the neck pickup because it sounds warm and rich, but it's still got a bit of a cut to it. It's not as nasty and gnarly as the bridge pickup, but it's got that kind of like flow to it, and I like that very much. But yeah, so is there anything else? But yeah, so that's the kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, I do like that, and I do like kind of like, you know, all sorts of stuff really. But I mean, my main focus in music is guitar related stuff because I'm a guitar nut. I love the guitar. You know what I mean? So if there's a guitar in it, invariably I will listen to it. If I don't like it, I don't like it. You know, it's fine. Just because there's a guitar in it doesn't mean I have to like it. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I do listen to others here and there, and like I say, I have been very inspired by certain kind of movie soundtracks and stuff like that, and the way music affects me. There's the House of Flying Daggers has some of the most gorgeous music in it, especially at the end. There's a scene at the end where there's a huge kind of fight between these two guys, and the music at the end absolutely pulls on you. Much in the same way as kind of there's the film Green Mile with Tom Hanks. At the end of it, where you know, it's the big emotional scene. The music behind that is just so stunning, and it just captures the feeling so well. And that's exactly what I want to do. You know what I mean? I want to capture those feelings and be able to actually express them through music. So when I do feel kind of like angry, sad, happy, alone, whatever, all these kind of ranging emotions, I can vent and channel them through the guitar. And through doing that, it might make you feel less alone, or it might make you vent your emotions, you know, to that piece of music. You know what I mean? That's the idea. Just get it out. I just want that. That's what I want. That's my ultimate goal with the guitar, is to just play with just that feel. I don't care about being technically whizzy or fast on the guitar. I just want to. I want to play with feel so much. Like, you know, I just want people to just feel every note I play kind of like has a meaning to me, and I want people to feel that as well. You know what I mean? It's not to be kind of like masochistic to a point where I'm like, oh, I'm feeling angry and depressed, and you will too after you listen to this. It's not because of that. It's just that it can help other people. You know what I mean? Not only can it help you venting it and getting it out of you through the guitar, but you can, with music, with the power of music, you can actually get through to people and make them feel less alone or less sad or happy when they feel, you know, this, that and the other, or whatever, or more happy when they are happy. You know, it's, you know, or happy when they're sad, or whatever. You know, it's incredible, the power of music. It really is stunning, and that's all I want. That's all I want, and that's what I'm working towards. I don't feel the need to learn any more scales or modes. It's just like, you know, work with what I've got and just try and get the most out of that as I can emotionally. And I always feel it's never good enough. That's my kind of problem. But again, I am that way inclined anyway. Nothing's ever good enough to my mind. But I'm going to have to move on because I'm going to ramble. But yeah, stuff like that. Movie soundtracks, everybody. Seriously, study movie soundtracks. They're amazing. There's so much in there to learn. Okay, so I'm going to move on to question 3. Can you get the Red Hot Chili Peppers Can't Stop tone out of the Marshall MG100DFX combo? Yeah, you can. You said you saw my video on how to get it out of the HDFX. You can, yeah, it's pretty much, you're going to have to tweak and tweeze those settings, but you can get pretty much the same sound. But one thing I will say is the DFX has a stronger mid-range than the HDFX. For some reason, I don't know why, but the combo has a stronger mid-range than the head. So if it's sounding really mid-rangey and kind of like clunky in the mid-range, dial in a little bit of a contour dial to scoop out some of those mids. But you're going to have to tweak and tweeze the settings I had in my video I did ages ago, because they won't necessarily work for you, just so you know. But yeah, you can get that sound out of the DFX, no problem at all. Okay, so moving on to question 4, because I've no idea about that. Video was years ago. I cannot remember the settings I used, but yeah, you can do it out of the DFX, definitely. So moving on to question 4. Have you ever owned a Conrad guitar? I have not. No, I've never even heard of them. You sent me a picture of that Les Paul, which looks stunning. I've never seen it. I've never seen one before though, like that. And no, I've never owned one. I've never even seen one. I've never even heard of a make. So Conrad guitar, no, I have no idea. But that Les Paul looks gorgeous. And you also asked, how did you strip Revelation RTL? Heat gun. The Revelation RTL's Cherry Burst that I didn't like, I got that off using a heat gun. And but it was basically a case of like taking everything out of the guitar and just basically putting a heat gun on it until the finish peeled, and then just kind of like chipping it away. And you know, I didn't do a perfect job on it, but I love it nonetheless. You know what I mean? Because I love that. That is my favourite Les Paul I own. Absolutely my favourite Les Paul. It's my favourite humbucker guitar I own as well. It just is just. It's just perfect. I absolutely love it, and I love the way it looks now with the strip top instead of having the Cherry Burst. I mean, Cherry Burst is okay, but I don't really like the tomato soup thing. I've got my Epiphone Les Paul with that finish on it, and I was never 100% really happy with that. I always wanted a gold top, and because that's my dream Les Paul. Gold top dark back is my dream Les Paul, but and that's thanks to Slash. But yeah, I don't actually own I don't actually even own a gold top, which is bizarre, really, considering how much I love gold top Les Pauls. I have actually toyed with the idea of making my Revelation a gold top, but there's so many divots and dents in it and stuff like that from where I stripped the top off that it would look a bit weird. I'd have to do a relic job, but I don't feel it would look very good, so I just kind of leave it natural, just like the plain wood. I have varnished it, so it does kind of have a yellowy kind of tint to it, but it's not, it's not a gold top. I would love a gold top. It's one of those kind of like, a gold top Les Paul with a dark back is, I did have, I had an R7 for a while, but sadly, no, I had a real Gibson, but sadly, I had to get rid of it. Fallen hard times, you have to sell these things. Anyway, so how did I strip Revelation? It was just a heat gun. It's very, very simple. You just got to be careful. You don't kind of like go a bit too silly with it. But I mean, I love the way mine looked after I stripped it off. I loved it so much more now. I loved it before, but I love it so much more now, the way it looks. And it was such a wild card, that guitar. Like I say, it came with that black Les Paul custom kind of Revelation, which is the RTL59, I think. And I wanted that. I have wanted that guitar since I first saw it in the Revelation kind of catalogue. I was like, I want that. I love the look of that. Black Les Paul, P90s, and gold hardware. It makes me dribble. And then the RTL, they said, we'll send you an RTL59 as well, which I was a bit like, meh. And literally, I took the 55 out first and plugged it straight, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. I was like, oh well, I better check out the other one as well. And I plugged in the 59, and I was like, that is it for me. And I was like, I don't think I played the black one again apart from the demo, actually. The 59 just took its place. I absolutely adore that guitar. It's got the same neck as my 57, which I love very much. It's got a really big neck on it, and feels like a real Les Paul neck. It feels like some of the old Les Paul, the 50s Les Pauls that I've played, and the mid to late kind of those reissues, kind of like whatever, mid to late. I don't know why I even said that, but anyway. But yeah, so just a heat gun. That's all I used, and then obviously just sanding it down, basically just with varying degrees of different grits of sandpaper. I think the lowest I can't remember what the lowest I went to, but it was like literally basically you're basically sanding it with like just paper, basically just to get it really smooth and get as much as kind of like the nastiness out as possible. And I also rounded off the binding as well, but yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, so that's all I use. So yeah, hope that's the question. Like I say, heat guns are ace for just stripping guitars. It just makes it so much easier, and kind of sanding them. Heat guns just rule the day when it comes down to stripping a polyurethane guitar is finished. Nitro, sand it. If it's got a nitro finish and you don't like it, sand it. Don't use a heat gun. It won't go well. But if it's polyurethane, poly finish of any description, just a plasticky finish, and heat guns are just like the best thing in the world, and they just take so much time. They take that kind of it takes such less time. That's what I want to say, because sanding it can take forever, and it can take such a long time to sand the finish. Go through a poly finish. Heat gun just gets rid of it. And I had that Revelation done in an afternoon. It was all gone in an afternoon. It was quite incredible. Okay, so So yeah, I hope that's the question. Moving on to question 5 now. Question 5 is, what are your jackhammer settings? Okay, my jackhammer settings are this. I drew them out. I hope you can kind of see. So, I apologise for the mistake. That is not supposed to be a dual concentric dial. I just didn't think. I was just kind of drawing dual concentric dials and got a bit carried away. So, these are my settings for the jackhammer. You will have to mess around with these. These work for me because of the way I have it set up. They might not work for you, so just bear that in mind. So I have it set to the mode. I have it on the OD setting, so overdrive setting. Volume is at 3 o'clock. I have gain somewhere between 10 and 11 o'clock. You're going to have to kind of like find the sweet spot. That's the sweet spot for me. It's kind of not quite 11 o'clock, but it's not quite 10 o'clock. It's kind of in between the two. So that's where I have gain, that's where I have volume. Treble and bass, I have both on 0. So they're turned down all the way. So I don't use treble and bass, basically. I don't use them. And then the kind of most important dial. Now, these two dials here, the frequency and the contour, they're the dials you want to be turning to really tweak this pedal to get it to sound the way you want to sound it. You know, because there is so much range in these two dials. But I have it set with the frequency at 12 o'clock. So frequency is set straight up, and the contour is basically at kind of like, well, what would it be? 5 o'clock-ish, you know. So basically all the way up. So turn the contour all the way up, basically, and I have a frequency at 12 o'clock. So they're my jackhammer settings. And I thought I would just, instead of explaining it, I thought I'd just doodle it out, and hopefully you can kind of see better than kind of like me talking about it and trying to explain. So they're my settings for the jackhammer. They don't ever change either. That's the setting I stumbled across when I first started using the jackhammer, and I haven't changed ever since. Occasionally, I might put the gain up, but that is like occasionally. That's like rare. That's like, you know, I might put the gain up to 12 o'clock, but that, again, extremely rare. I don't really do that. I've done it maybe a handful of times, if that, you know. And I've only ever done that when I'm messing around. I haven't done that in videos or anything like that. So yes. So before I move on to the final question, everybody, I've got an irritating nose, and I'm going to have to go and sort that out. So I'll be back in but a split second. And we're back. So it is the season for colds and irritating noses because it's very, very cold and funny. So so bear with me. Okay, so where are we? Question 6. Final question of everybody. Question 6. Okay, so there's a fair bit to get through on question 6. Question 6 is your music available on Spotify? No, it's not. My music is only available through Bandcamp. I don't agree with Spotify. I don't like their terms. I don't like the way they shortchange artists. I don't like iTunes for that either. My music, I can't say will never be on Spotify, but at this point in time, it's not going to be up on there. My music is solely on Bandcamp only because Spotify are not out for the best interests of the artists. They are out for the best interests of Spotify. Same with iTunes. They don't care about you as an artist. They care about what you can bring them. And I'm not into that. Whereas Bandcamp, they respect you 10 times more. And I like that. And there's also DistroKid is another one. I need to get my music on there as well. But at this point in time, I like having one place where my music is. And the same, my Bandcamp. And a link to my Bandcamp is always in the description box below. But like I say, that is where my music is. Like I said, I don't agree with Spotify. I don't agree with iTunes. They don't care for artists. They just care for what you can give them. And you don't get, if you put your album up for sale, you don't see a lot of that profit. Bandcamp take 15% off what you earn. They take 15%, which is kind of like a standard fee, if you will, and the rest goes to you, which is incredible, absolutely incredible. iTunes not the same, neither Spotify. You know, you're very lucky to get much. You know, you've got to get a lot of streams on Spotify to get really any kind of income back from it. You certainly can't live off the income you get back from it. I can't live off the income I get from Bandcamp because it's very, very few and far between. I don't sell a great deal of music. which brings me to something I want to talk about at the end. It's a shameless plug, but I'm going to talk about it because I'm going to try and be a bit of a salesman. Good luck on that one, Dave. Anyway, but yeah, is my music available on Spotify? No, it's not available on Spotify. It's not available on iTunes. My music is only available on Bandcamp. You can stream it on there, though. You know, it is available for download on there where you can pay to buy the music, and you can buy individual tracks off my Bandcamp if you like. If there's an album on there and you're like, well, I only like this track, you know, you can just buy that one track. I mean, I don't like that idea of just buying one track off an album. You know, I come from that time where if you heard one song, you bought the album, and then you know you never know what you might find or what might grow on you. It's strange, but you know, with the shifting times, it does seem to be more and more. It's like, I just like that one song. I want that one song. But like I say, yeah, all my music is on Bandcamp, and like I say, you can stream it on there. You don't have to buy it. The music, you know, it's not forced down your throat to buy it. It's just a case of you can click it and it will play. You know what I mean? So like I say, the link for my Bandcamp is in the description box below. But I don't like iTunes. I don't like Spotify. They're very. There's not much in there, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, and they're a saturated market as well. It's like, you know, I'd much rather use a website like Bandcamp or something like that, because there's so much music on iTunes, there's so much music on Spotify. Trying to find that, it's because it's so saturated, it's quite difficult. So, and again, you know, it comes down to the fact of I just don't agree with them. You know, I just don't agree with, like I say, they don't respect artists. They respect the money that you can maybe bring them, and then they'll take about as much as they can before it gets unreasonable. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, even then it's not exactly reasonable. You know, you hear of my friend Ian got a royalty check through from somewhere, and it was like something like 25p for like, I can't remember how many streams, but it was in the thousands, and it's just like, you know, they don't respect music, they don't respect artists, they don't respect you for your time and effort. They're just after kind of making money off you, which isn't, in this day and age, especially for something like a massive multi-million-dollar company like them, it's not important for them. You know, we need that money. We've got bills. We live in the real world. They live in the millionaire world. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, if you put your heart and soul and all your money and sink everything you've got into an album and then put it on Spotify, and you get 6,000 streams and you get a royalty check through for £1, yeah, it's just not. It's not. I don't agree with them. I don't agree with them. Like I say, my music. I can't say my music will never be up there, because I might just have to bite the bullet one day. But at this point in time, I'm sticking to my guns, and I'm just not putting it on Spotify or iTunes. I don't agree with them. I don't appreciate them. I think, like I say, I don't think they're out for the best interest of artists. They're out for the best interests of themselves, and I'm just not jumping on that train. I would rather miss it and wait for the other one. You know what I mean? I'd wait. I'm just not interested in it. So my music is only available on my Bandcamp at this point in time, everybody. So like I say, if you want to hear my music, there's a link in the description box below to my Bandcamp. But like I say, it's not going to be on Spotify for foreseeable future. So everyone's had part of your question. You also said, now this is where tangent time might come in, because this is, and I've got to be careful because I haven't filmed the intro jam yet. So I've got to be careful I don't completely destroy all the time on the camera. So yeah. So the next, the last part of question 6, if you will, because it is kind of like just one kind of question, is, I'm a beginner guitarist and I was wondering if you can give me any advice on soloing. I have trouble playing scales in different positions and moving them about the neck. Do you have any tips or tricks that have helped you with fluid guitar soloing on the neck that might benefit a beginner? There are no tricks to guitar soloing. It's a question of time and practice and putting the hours in and the years in. It's not a question of, if you do this, it's a quick way to get you to do this. That doesn't work that way. It is simply a case of, you've got what you put in, you get out. Moving scales about and understanding where shapes go takes a long time. Less time for some people, more time for others. It depends on the way you learn. It depends on the way your brain processes information. So it's just a case of just practice, and using that practice in a practical way. Like, for instance, like playing along to songs, improvising your own solos over songs. Yes, first time you do it for about a year, it might be terrible. First time you do it for about 3 years, it might be terrible. But eventually you will break through that barrier. But it takes time. You have to be prepared. If you're learning guitar, you have to be prepared, or any instrument for that matter, you have to be prepared for it to take a long time. It's not going to happen in months. It's not going to happen, it's not going to happen in a year. It will happen in years. You've got to be prepared for that. I want to play like Slash, but I've only been playing 6 months. You've got a long way to go. You know what I mean? But that's the fun of it. Don't see it as, I want to do it now. It's like, if you can't do it now, you can't do it now. But you will be able to one day. And that's what you've got to keep in mind, And you just enjoy the ride where, enjoy the ride where you got it. Because if I think back, because I've been playing guitar 17 years now. If I think back to when I've played, I have loved every second. I've loved every second of learning to play the guitar to where I am today. And I still love it. And I still love learning new songs. I still love learning new chord progressions and stuff like that. So, just enjoy the ride. And play within your means of where you are at that point in time. If you can't solo yet, then don't solo until you feel you can kind of get through it. Learning other people's solos is a really good thing as well. Starting off simple guitar solos and then kind of like building your way up. As for memorising scales, like I say, that will come with time as well. It just takes time for your brain to kind of process this. And I say everybody's brains process information in a different way. Muscle memory develops in a different way to everybody else. Some people get it really quickly, some people don't. Some people find it really difficult and they really have to work at it. Some people just kind of like fall into it and it can just kind of near enough. No one can ever do it 100% perfectly straight off the bat. But some people can kind of do it. It's very, very strange. But again, it's because we're all individual people and we all learn differently. And you've got to find your own little path, really. You've got to find your own way to learn and a way that makes sense to you. For instance, I learned very early on that I couldn't figure out songs by tab or chord sheets or music or anything. I had to use my ears because that's the way I learned quickest. Sorry, okay, yawn. Sorry, that's really rude of me. Sorry, I apologise. But yeah, I had to learn to develop my ear because I couldn't. Because obviously Blair found out it's because I'm dyslexic, so I can't read music or anything like that. So I had to develop my ear. And that was the way I learned things quicker, was by listening and hearing it and going, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? So the whole idea, if you want a solo, then you have to, and you want to be fluid with your solos, you have to put the years in, basically. I'm not going to say the hours because that would be wrong. It's the years. You've got to put the years in. You know what I mean? It will happen eventually. It won't happen straight away. And, I know it's frustrating. I want a solo. I want to be able to do this. This, that, and the other. But you do have to have patience. You have to develop patience of a saint to do this thing because it doesn't happen quickly. It really, really takes a long time. It really does. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I can't. It'd be wrong. It'd be misleading for me to go, well, if you learn this and you learn that, you'll be away. That's kind of like a half truth. If you learn your five positions of a pentatonic scale and stuff like that, that is half of it, yeah. But it takes years to get them under your fingers to understand them properly, and then it takes more years on top of that for you to be able to use them practically and fluidly, so you can just call upon them at any given moment, and away you kind of go, so to say. So just be prepared that it is going to take years. There are no tricks. The only tip I can give you is, like I say, use it in a practical sense. Learn these scales and just dive in. And you're going to sink to start with. That's the way it's going to be. You're going to dive in a deep end and you're going to sink because it's just not going to work because it takes a long time to develop and you don't know really what you're doing. But if you look up a backing track, like say for instance, if you know your pentatonic scales in A minor, or E minor or whatever, and you go on YouTube and you look for a backing track, a blues backing track in A minor, say, just play it and just dive in and just see what happens. But learning other people's guitar solos does give you certain phrases you can use, like learning blues, like I broke my knee getting off there. But learning kind of like stock kind of phrases, like I'm using a 50p for a plectrum, everybody. But yeah, I'm doing stuff like that. Or learning little kind of like blues licks like that is really, really kind of like cool. Because it gives you kind of like a way in. So if you've got a blues backing track in A minor, you can actually start your solo with, and it gets you off kind of on the right foot because it's a nice, kind of nice bluesy kind of stock lick, if you will. And then you can kind of build on it from there. If you just use your minor pentatonic, you can hold that bend. Just going down the scale. But the flow and the fluidity of guitar soloing comes with time. You can't rush that, I'm afraid. There is no quick route to be able to flow on the guitar. It takes years. It takes years to kind of develop that ability to, just flow up and down the guitar neck and also express yourself emotionally through the guitar. It takes a long time. You know what I mean? So just be prepared for it. Like I say, the tip I would do is, like, you've got to learn these scales, yes, but you're not gonna log them like that unless you're kind of like using them in a practical sense. Using them in a practical sense puts them to work. It's like learning the alphabet. It's like if you learn the if you're like a young kid and you learn the alphabet, it doesn't necessarily mean you know how to spell. You know what I mean? Now you've learned the alphabet, it doesn't mean you can spell. You have to still learn how to spell words. You know what I mean? Just because you know all the letters doesn't mean you know all the words. So just bear that in mind. That's basically kind of like what the deal is there. It's just going to take a long time. It's just going to take a long time, but you will get there, and that is the point you have to keep remembering. But you will eventually get there. And one of the other things as well is, as soon as you start to feel yourself getting angry at it, stop. Just walk away at that point. Put the guitar down, go do something else. Because the moment you get angry, you're not going to learn. It's just going to go out the window. You're not going to learn a thing. So you need to be kind of very honest with yourself and kind of brutal with yourself as well, really. If you want to play the guitar and you pick it up and you just start making loads of mistakes and you can feel yourself getting angry, you have to be brutal with yourself and go, right, I need to go away. I need to do something else. I can't do this right now. Because the moment you get angry, you stop learning. You know what I mean? And the moment you stop learning, what's the point? You know what I mean? It's just counterproductive. So, scale-wise, having difficulty moving the scales around, that's normal. That will come with time. Just keep doing it. Don't worry about mistakes. Laugh them off. If you make a mistake, laugh it off. It's only a mistake. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You can go back and you correct it. You're not on the stage in front of 50,000 people. You'll be okay. So, if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. It's fine. As long as you're in a safe environment, you're alright. You'll be alright. And again, mistakes don't matter anyway. Mistakes happen. We're human beings. We are flawed. So it doesn't make any difference. We're okay. It's okay to make mistakes. So, moving the scales about in different positions, that will come with time. You just have to keep going over and over and over and over and over and over it again. It just takes years to do it. It just takes years to develop. There is no quick route. There is no, pass go and collect $200 kind of thing, Monopoly style. It is just a case of just keep at it and at it and at it. And again, you playing to backing tracks is key. Using these scales in a practical way, learning other people's guitar solos, and then playing along to them is really good as well. And starting simply. John Frusciante's got some great simple guitar solos, which I can't play. I just nearly did. It's like the other day when I know you played Foxy Lady. That was scary. Literally, my heart jumped out my throat when I started playing it. I was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" You can feel Jimi Hendrix's like lawyers looking down on me like, keep going, go on. You know you want to. You know you want us to block your video. I kind of imagine that's what they're like. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, we won't go off on a tangent on that one. But anyway, yeah, keep going. Just keep playing. You've got to keep playing. You've got to put the years in. It's as simple as that. It's not the hours. It's the years. You've got to play for years. It takes a long time. I've been playing 17 years, and I've loved every second of it. And I wouldn't trade learning the guitar for anything. I just adore playing the guitar. It's my best mate. It really is, and it really is my best mate. And so yeah. So is there anything else? I can't think. If there's anything else I need to mention. You just got to keep going. You just got to keep playing. You can't stop. You can't just kind of like get disinterested in it. The moment you get disinterested in it, you're gonna give up. You can't get to that state. You need to kind of keep rediscovering things that kind of like drag you back to the guitar. You know what I mean? If it's a different style, this, that, and the other. Soloing isn't everything. You know what I mean? You can't. You know, there is a lot of kind of like other things you can do with the guitar. You know, riffs, chord progressions. You know, all sorts of stuff. But yeah, that would be my kind of tip. It's just you got to keep at it. You know what I mean? It's going to take a long time, especially sadly if you're a beginner. I mean, I wasn't able to solo for it took me about 3 years to be able to actually play solos. And then it took me another load of years to refine that, to get it to a point where I could actually kind of like improvise and then kind of like be okay. You know what I mean? I have the tapes to prove this as well, how bad I was at the beginning. But again, you have to dive in the deep end sometimes and just try and hope you can swim. But yeah, so I'm going to do a video on this one day, you know, where I'm literally just going to talk about it because I really want to talk about this more and I don't have enough time today. So I am going to do a video about kind of like, you know, this kind of thing. And I'm just going to talk about the kind of like the way I experienced it and the way I think it is and stuff like that. So I will expand on that in another video at some point. But for this point in time, I hope there's something in there. Just keep at it. You just have to keep doing it. That is the key. Okay, so the last thing, so I hope that question's okay, everybody. I hope it's all made sense, and I hope there's, you know, something in there you can take away. The last thing I do want to mention really, really quickly is the shameless self-plug, is I've released 2 new albums on my Bandcamp. One is called Etnake Surf. What is it? Something. I don't remember what it's called now. But basically the idea of that is it's a little homage to John Frusciante's early Neandra, usually just a t-shirt era. Because I got out my old tape Yamaha cassette recorder thing, and I just thought I just want to do a little homage album. So it's kind of like, it's aimed at John Frusciante fans, really, that one. And then the other one is called The Void, and that's just a soundscape. But the link for that is in the description box below, so if you want to go and listen to that, it's on the Bandcamp below. Other than that, if you want to submit a question for Q&A, again, links are in the description box below. There's an email link, which I think is the easiest one to use. The website one isn't the easiest one by the looks of it. It's not that I don't get a lot of questions through the website, so the email one probably is the way to go. Is there anything else I need to mention? No, all links in the description box below. But anyway, thank you so much for your questions. Thank you all so much for watching. You're all awesome, and you all mean a lot to me. And and I will see you again on Friday. I have a video planned for Friday, and I hope it won't get copyright flagged. That's all I'm going to say at this point in time. But we'll see on Friday. So, but yeah, I'll see you on Friday. Hopefully, fingers crossed. If there's no video on Friday, then we know why. But I'm going to try, and I have to try, because if I don't try, I'll never know, and we'll never know, and I need to find out. So yeah. So anyway, Friday's video. If I can't do a video for Friday, there'll be a video on Saturday, basically, depending on kind of like, you know, what happens. We'll find out. But anyway, got copyright flagged on Instagram the other day, everybody. Copyright flagged on Instagram and Facebook as well. So it's spread. It's like a virus. YouTube, Instagram, and now Facebook, all copyright flagging. It's getting out of hand. It's getting silly. It's getting absolutely silly. It's cool in a way because it makes people kind of go in their own direction, but it's still stupid. And there's no need to enforce it with an iron fist like they do. But anyway, yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I'll see you on Friday. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening, and goodbye now. Thank you all so much for watching.